Do you ever feel like you look like every other designer? Like there's nothing that's setting you apart right now? In today's world, where we are constantly bombarded with TikTok and Instagram and all these platforms with design inspiration, it's easy to feel like your work is just blending into the background. Trust me, I get it. It can be challenging to find your own distinct style when you're always seeing what other designers are doing. But here's what happens when you blend in. When your work looks like everybody else's, you struggle to get noticed. Clients might pass you over because nothing is standing out in your portfolio. And even worse, you might start to feel disconnected from your own creativity, questioning what makes your work special and am I even cut out for this? But here's the good news. Finding your unique style is totally possible, and I'm going to share with you how to do that in this video and also share with you a little bit of a story on my journey to finding my style. I understand it can be really hard to find your own unique design style, especially when we are thrown so much information on social media, or maybe you have an addiction to Pinterest like me. But let me explain that there's so many ways that you can find your unique style, ways to really develop that and to practice it and to work on it. And having that unique style will set you apart from so many designers and also allow you to attract the clients that you're so excited to work with. So when someone asks me, how do I find my design ideas or how do I get inspired? And it's interesting because I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to answer that question, because I truly feel that design styles and the way that we all like to see and perceive the world is also really unique. And I think that's the beauty behind graphic design and creatives and really expressing our perspective of the world through art. However, there are some things that I could recommend that you do and pay attention to help you form that overall style. The first thing that I recommend is to really self-explore and to step out of your digital space. I think that a lot of us get so sucked into designing and working and being productive, whereas when I reflect on a lot of my best designs and my best ideas, most of the time those came from actual real life experiences or hobbies that I have, or traveling, or just stepping out of my comfort zone and practicing those creative muscles in the real world and getting inspired by things in the real world, whether that's coffee shops or movies or just being out with friends and seeing somebody wearing a really cool outfit. There's so many real life, real world experiences that allow me to feel creative and inspired. So that would be my biggest piece of advice, is to self-explore, to reflect on what you feel is your style. I know that it can be really hard. I think it's really hard, especially now for us, because we see so many things online and it's hard to feel inspired, but also to add your own twist and touch to it. But when you do start to step away and actually genuinely live your life and use those life moments and perspectives to bring that back into designs, that's typically when I see a lot of designers succeed and have the most really effective designs and really unique designs that stand out from others in the industry. So that would be my number one tip, is to self-explore and reflect. Now, this is something that has really helped me as a designer, and that was actually hiring a copywriter. For my website, I decided to invest in my copywriter, Naomi. She's amazing, but she was able to really help me define and find my voice in my website, which also in turn helped me find my voice in my designs. When she actually gave me that super simple tagline and statement of where less becomes more and minimal, and just using those keywords actually helped me figure out how to implement that into my designs and how to really live and breathe those keywords and to showcase my voice even through my clients' projects. I think a lot of us focus on the personal brand and how we can showcase our design through our personal logo, but I also have noticed that there's a lot of success when you take your own personal voice and you add those little touches to every single project that you do. So one of the things that I love to do for my clients is to add a very unique vintage touch to the logos, whether that's adding the pictograph dots in the logo or finding some really unique, almost like grainy textures and patterns and designs to add to the logo. I feel that even though I do that in my personal brand, that a lot of clients are attracted to my work because they want that in their brand too. And I would love for people to see a client's brand and be like, oh, that is from the designer Megan, or that's from you as a designer. So I always try to pay attention to that. And ultimately, the biggest thing I'm trying to mention in this point is that hiring a copywriter or using a professional to help you find your voice can really help you find your voice in your designs as well. I'm sure that you've heard that designing for yourself can be one of the hardest things to do, but I do think it's so important to do. Creating a mood board, taking yourself through the entire branding process that you take your clients through is going to help you find your unique style in your personal brand and really help you show up in your client projects with that, and also throughout your entire content and website and all the consistency that you put out there. If you actually take yourself through the full process, it'll be so much easier to really define your style. So I recommend creating a brand photography mood board for yourself, creating that color palette, all those things that you do for your clients. Do it for yourself and you'll be able to find that style that much easier. Also, along with that tip is to not rush it. It took me a really long time to finally find a logo that I actually loved and wasn't going to get tired of. I think I went through over 4 personal logos over the last few years, and I finally nailed it down to one that I took my time on, that I really thought about, that I came back to after months, and I finally felt so connected to it and aligned with it. And I think that's why it is harder to design for yourself as a designer, because we know how good we can make it. We know we're like perfectionists in that way, I think, especially with our own designs, because we want it to be something that we can use for a long period of time and not get tired of. But that really helped me in my overall exploration of my personal brand, and I would recommend that any designer do that if you're just starting out. Another tip to find your unique style is to constantly learn and grow. One of my weaknesses that I would say lately is that I've been so sucked into my routine and my process and my design style that I haven't really taken the time to continue to learn. But I know how important that is. So I've been really trying to make an effort every week to either jump into a YouTube video where I can learn some new skills, or look into some courses, or maybe some other skills that I want to learn even outside just the graphic design space, to really expand my knowledge and continue to find the style within our like evolving society. So I do think it's so important to constantly learn and grow. And also, even now, but when I was starting and taking courses and really learning from those who inspired me in the graphic design space, I was able to find my style just by learning from them, because I would take bits and pieces of their process or things that I love within their style, and I would go add my twist to it and make it my own and really make it unique to myself. So learning and growing and connecting and just seeing what other designers out there are doing and how you can set yourself apart from that is really helpful. So don't be afraid to go look on YouTube, go find some graphic design courses or things that are going to help you feel inspired and also excited to add and personalize your own brand. So that's what I would recommend for really getting started. And the places that I typically go for inspiration are YouTube, Pinterest, occasionally Instagram, but I usually limit it to YouTube and Pinterest and try not to overwhelm myself. But that's typically where I'll learn, and from the learning will grow and evolve my personal brand with that. Another thing that I've been so inspired by is to really live and breathe my personal brand. I've seen so many amazing YouTubers and content creators that have their brand colors even in the aesthetics of their videography or their office or their clothes, and living and breathing that will really help you show up as that unique creative. So that's something I've been really trying to practice, is finding that vintage unique style in my own personal life, and also the like minimal beige kind of style that I typically go for. But once you start to live and breathe that, you gain a lot more attention and attraction from clients, because you look like the designs you put out, and also when you look connected to the designs that you are creating, and you just have that aesthetic to you, I do feel that clients will really trust you to create the overall aesthetic that they are looking for as well. So overall, this is something I wanted to mention because I truly feel that this one thing is preventing you from landing graphic design clients, and that is showing up like every other designer, not having your own voice, not having your own style, and really just getting so sucked into the same world. And I really wanted to mention this because I do feel that this is the one thing that's stopping a lot of designers from standing out from the crowd and attracting more graphic design clients. I do know that your brand and your personal brand and style will evolve over time, and that's totally okay. But if you just start and you really start to practice and learn and grow and find your voice in design, it's going to be that much easier to show up and live and breathe in that overall personal brand that you've created. So I really hope that those tips help you find your own unique style. And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it so much if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more. But before you go, this is a video that's part of my mini series on 5 big mistakes you might be making as a graphic designer. So if you want to see the other ones, be sure to check out this video right here.